Well, it's been a light wind season, so I figured I would talk about a few things. Kind of waiting for the wind to really kick off. There haven't really been much going on lately. Um, I've been really working hard at I don't know if it's intelligent or not, but we'll find out. Um, Basically 5 days a week going to the gym and running as well. And I picked up this book, which may come in, flipped when I publish this video, but it's Daniel's Running Formula by Jack Daniels. He's got an interesting name, but I guess he was in the Olympics and he was a running coach for a lot of Olympic people. A lot of people like his book, but I've been doing his training programs. I recently went to an intermediate training level with him or with his what he has in his book, anyways. And I found it pretty good. I've been doing those this week, and I think I started Saturday, so I've restarted another week of progress because I kind of moved it up a day just based off everything. But it was kind of tough runs because they finally added some threshold pace runs. Nothing in the when I did the easy level or the novice level, it was all easy runs, so pretty slow. It was like for me that's like 10, 20 to do 11 something minute pace for a mile. But threshold for me right now, according to his book formula, and I try to stick to it, is about 8:45 minute mile. But today that run was, three separate miles with a break between them at that threshold pace, and it felt good. And I had a full mile beforehand and a full mile afterwards of easy pace, and that easy really felt easy after going threshold pace. But I've been keeping up with it, and that part I think is good. But what I question the intelligence of is I've also been really ramping up my effort in the gym, and by that I mean in the past I did the 5x5 program, strong lifts. A bajillion people have heard of it, and I restarted that while also pushing myself running. And I've been told this is bad, you can't do this, but I think at my level of weightlifting, it's not exactly too bad, and I've been able to. Since I start, bump up the weight every week by 5 pounds. And depending on the day of the week, sometimes I would get a set of, or not really the day of the week, but depending on just how I was feeling that day that I was in the gym. As an example, I had a very disorganized work schedule, or very disorganized workout schedule, and I wasn't consistent with my program, and I was just kind of like, I don't feel like doing so much today. And it was like that for quite a while, like well over a year or two. I think I was working out like that. And as an example of what I was lifting, I would sometimes work my way up to, a squat of 225 and maybe get a set or two of like 3 to 5 reps. And it wasn't really going anywhere. I wasn't really progressing at any real amount. And I backed off the weight a little bit to push a really solid 5x5. And I started a few weeks ago, but now today, I did the same thing on Monday. I had a workout. I think it was 210 pounds, 5x5 squat on Monday, and that was after a almost 6 mile run. Having a little break after that, eating a little bit of food, and then going to the gym and doing a 5x5 squat with 210. And today I did the same thing. So that was a few days apart, Monday to Friday, and I did that intermediate level run, which was over 5 miles, and I did a 5x5, and I bumped it up 5 pounds, so it was 215 pounds with 5x5, and I was able to do it. It was a bit rough, but I was able to do those squats, and it felt pretty good. I feel pretty strong. I just had to eat a bunch to keep from getting weak and losing too much weight because I don't want to lose weight on this particular thing. I would like to lose body fat and put more muscle on, but I definitely don't want to undereat. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do these workouts of both running, over 5 miles in that day and doing a heavy squat routine. But I know this is not the smartest thing to do, or supposedly not the smartest thing to do, but I figured I'd push myself really hard. I really need to get good sleep on it. It's made it really easy to sleep for me. I fall asleep almost easily, almost instantaneously because I've been pushing my body so hard, but it's good. Also, probably been doing some longer regular runs. When I started this, my gym's like half a mile away, and I would run there, and I wouldn't feel good. And a mile was a big deal. Just to run a mile, to make a mile was a big deal. And I would run a mile, then like walk back. And I had a few injuries, like Achilles tendon and stuff like that, because was trying to run too fast. And now I know where I should run my running speeds, and this program really helped me. And I have less injuries, and running a mile is no big deal. I know I can go out right now and run an easy mile. I could run an easy 5K. I've done it enough that it doesn't scare me and it doesn't intimidate me. But that's good. That's what I've learned in the process, and my strength numbers are going up, and I like that. As far as windsurfing, um, I had a few sessions recently. Probably a week ago was my last session, and unfortunately, my new camera only lasted about 10 hours. I don't know what happened there. I kept it dry, and it was just a new camera, and for some reason, sometimes it wouldn't turn on and take a video. It seemed unreliable in that way, just using it, trying to use it the first few times. And then I did get some good video out of it. My first rides on my new freestyle 115 board, I was able to get that on video. But then I had some other sessions that it just refused. It just refused to take video. It would turn on and then it just wouldn't do anything. And so I contacted support and I have to send it in and blah blah blah. It's probably only had about 10 hours of video on it. It's just disappointing because I like to record. At one point I was recording pretty much all my sessions on camera, and then I've had several camera failures. I've had my GoPro 360 fail, and now the Insta 360 is doing this thing, and it's just so frustrating sometimes. Even though my windsurfing isn't the best, I like to see what I do wrong in a video, and the video really helps for that. But it's a hassle to set up and then deal with camera issues. I was futzing around so much with the camera on the water that it just lost its fun. I said, screw it. I'm just gonna windsurf and have fun and forget it. And I can't really, even though I was doing some interesting things with footwork and with how I was placing my body. I really wanted to see it on a camera and see how it showed up and what it looked like. Because my perception of what my body is doing and what it's actually doing in a video is often wrong. Um, but I don't have those videos. In particular, one case I'm thinking of is it was a really challenging day, and I went out on a 7.0, and in the lulls on that new board, I could kind of get going a little bit, but took some pumping on that new freestyle. But it was overpowered in gusts, but it was a manageable overpower. And I was trying to see with this freestyle, it has this narrow tail in the back compared to my Foil X board, and it's only 115 liters, so its shape is different. Its behavior is quite a bit different from Foil X, even though I'm using the same foil. And I wanted to see if I could get the same upwind angles as a Foil X. And at least from what I can tell from analyzing my GPS data, is that it was not quite as good as the Foil X. It was probably about 30 degrees towards the wind. It wasn't quite 40x. I know the Foil X I could get around 45 degrees to the wind if I tried. This one, I think on a few runs I did get almost 45 degrees to the wind. And what I did and what I wanted to see on video was I actually moved because I have the foot straps in the tri strap configuration. So I have a central rear strap, which I love having on a foil. Makes it really easy to get in a rear strap. It's fantastic. And especially really easy to get rear strap after a jibe. But when I was trying to really get hard upwind with that 7.0, which is a bit big for that board, I moved both my front foot and my back foot laterally out of the straps just so I could sheet in more and get a better sheeting angle on a sail. And I was able to do it. And I think that's when I got the best upwind angles was when I was doing that. But I want to make sure because I like this board. I would prefer to use it all the time if I'm going to do a free like a free ride or try any kind of tricks on a foil, that's the board to do it. My Foilex was felt really heavy, um, and I didn't ended up getting kind of annoyed by the power plate because it had a deep tuttle that was too far back, so I had to push the foil forward with the this jack plate, um, because it doesn't have a track mount system, in order for me to feel comfortable in the jives, because I really like the feeling of a lot of front foot pressure on the foil because it makes jives super easy. And in fact, one of the last sessions on that new board, I had kept pushing that foil forward. I think I moved it up to the 10 centimeter position, which is the furthest mark forward. It's not the furthest mark, it's not as far, or it's not the furthest point forward on the board that I can push it. I can push it a lot further forward, but it's the furthest mark on the board was 10 centimeters, and that was another centimeter forward. And it felt really good, like in a jives. It was a tough day, so my jives were still messy, but it wasn't falling in that much. But it kept the board. It made it a lot easier to keep the board flying during a jive. I would say that really easy trim to adjust. You just if you're lacking in that jive power or that jive flying power, and you feel like your nose is diving on a board like that, you can just move it forward, and you move the forward in the tracks, and it changes it so well. Um, the other thing I want to do is actually learn how to wing foil jump. There aren't really people here around here that do that, and it scares me, but that makes it exciting. So I really want to learn how to do that. It's just overcoming that fear. I did this little tiny jump on video. It wasn't really that exciting, but I didn't crash. But I would really like to learn how to jump reliably on a foil and maybe try a foil forward. That scares me too. But I'm looking at the videos and where the foil goes when you do a forward. It stays away from you, I think. And if you crash, you kind of crash body first. So that doesn't really scare me as much. And it's a light board. Um, so I don't know. If I'd tried, is the board to do it. I would just prefer to do it with a smaller sail than a 7.0. Um, Jumping, trying to jump with the 7.0, I thought about doing it, and I hesitated too much because the sail, just the sheeting angle and everything, it felt pretty big. I might still try it, but it did feel pretty big with that board. Um, I also got so I started out with the stock Phantasm PTM 926, and I love that front wing a lot. And it also has like the whatever that stabilizer is. I think it's like a 400 stabilizer. I don't remember the surface area of that stabilizer, but I don't know. I don't have any complaints about it. But I heard some other people or saw some other people having a conversation about different stabilizers and how to upgrade that foil. And what they did was they changed the stab, and they went from like that 400 to whatever the V tail is. It's like a very angled kind of delta shape. Not quite delta, but it's a very angled tail piece, which also does not have any winglets on it. And it helps release the board and yaw supposedly, which makes sense. But I haven't been able to ride it yet because there hasn't been a wind for it. But I would really like to, just to see what the difference is and see if it feels more carvy. Because I could carve, with the stock PTM 926 setup, but having some more freedom there, I think would feel good, and that's why I wanted to try it. And there's a couple other wings to try that are smaller and faster than that. Um, would probably require tweaking the foil position some, but at least now I know where the foil position should be, and I can tweak that tail and see what happens. I'm just waiting for wind. Um, it's just unfortunate because this, in general, in Florida, I would say winter is a strong season. December is iffy. November can be good. December is iffy. Sometimes it's hit or miss. But January and February are usually pretty good. And this February was not great. I got to ride the waves like once with my schedule lining up, and then this weekend it's like nothing. I don't even know if I could get my 9.0 and race foil, IQ foil setup going, just because there's hardly going to be any wind, and then if there is, it looks like there might be storms. Um, but I would really like to get out and try that freestyle some more. I'm really excited about it because the close foot straps also make it a lot easier to shuffle your feet around with all that front foil pressure that I can give it with just setup. And then the close straps make you move your feet a lot less. So I would like to try going full switch stance in both straps. I got close on a foil X, but the straps were like this far apart and it kind of scared me a bit. With this board, because I've been coming out of the jibes, like really, I've been entering the jibes and switching my feet and getting into the new front before flipping the sail. I'm kind of clue first and going pretty downwind with the sail clue first, and I'm in a new front foot strap, and it feels good. And then I flip the sail and I keep going. So I have that sensation, and it scares me a lot less than like when I had the wide straps on the foil X. And I just like the feel of that board a lot better with it being so light. But I love that center rear strap. Like in general, if I'm powered up, I really like having that rear strap um, in the center. It's just great. And on my wave boards and on this board too, it's just fantastic. But like I said, I need wind, and in the meantime, I've been running a lot and then going to the gym and working out a lot. But I don't know. I just figured I'd blab on them like that to anyone that's interested. If you care, if you're doing anything similar, that'd be cool. Let me know if you find this is interesting. And yeah, that's that. I think I'll call it for tonight. And have a good one.